Welcome back for the yearly tradition of price charting looking at the Silent Hill games, excluding Silent Hill 2 Remake. Strictly looking at the North American release versions only complete in box. So with that said, music in the background will be a variety of Silent Hill, of course, also right here, speaking of Silent Hill stuff. So with that said, first starting off on the PS1, the original Silent Hill 1, as of last year at this time, in 2024, the regular black label version was going for $220. How much is it going for today? It is going for, right now, this time this year, $237. So it has actually gone up $17 in the past year. Moving forward, I'm not sure how this is going to go right now, charting wise, but I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't go up more next year, or it may stay relatively steady. But I am surprised it did jump up $17 since last year. But yeah, I think it will most likely go up a little bit or stay steady, one of those two. But given it is PS1, it may go up more. Also, then we're looking at the greatest hits version. This time last year, it was going for $195, and this year it is going for $195. So it basically stayed completely the same from last year. So I would say not gonna be surprised if it stays relatively steady. I mean, for a greatest hits version, it is definitely holding a pretty decent value. But yeah, I'm not gonna be surprised if it stays steady and the regular black label version continues to go up as the rarity is becoming more and more rare. With that said, next up, Silent Hill 2. Original version of Silent Hill 2 on the PS2. This time last year, it was going for $180, which is not bad. However, this year, it is currently going for $157, so it literally saw a $23 drop in price since last year. I think it's going to stay relatively steady. It might drop a little bit more. I think because of the Silent Hill 2 remake, it is actually going to help it maybe lose a bit more value going forward. Then again, if it ends up staying steady or some, not going to be surprised, but I have a feeling it probably will drop a little bit more in value just because of having the remake. Greatest hits version, however, of Silent Hill 2, last year it was going for 165. This year is going for 150, so it lost $15 in value since last year. Moving forward, I have a feeling the greatest hits version may stay relatively steady, but mostly because there is additional content in the greatest hits version versus the original black label version. But if it loses more value, I'm not going to be surprised. But I think it will stay a little bit more steady than the Black Label version. With that said, next, looking at Silent Hill 2, of course, Restless Dreams, or and that is going to be much different in price. Like I've said before, if you're going to play an original version of Silent Hill 2, you're best going with the Xbox version, as it is much more affordable. This time last year, the regular label version was going for $65. This year, it is going for $58. So it saw a $7 drop in value. I think it will stay steady. I don't think it's going to drop too much more, honestly. But the fact it's going for about the price of a brand new game now, that makes it definitely more affordable for collectors of wanting to collect older classic survival horror games. This is probably one of your best routes to go. If you're a horror or Silent Hill fan and you have an Xbox or 360, might look into this. Also, there's the Platinum Hits version it also received. This time last year it was going for $55. This year it's going for $51. So a $4 drop. not as massive. I think it will stay relatively steady. I'm not going to be surprised if it teeters right at the $50 line. But I don't think it's going to go down too much. Honestly, given we're talking original Silent Hill with all the extra content, $51 is kind of crazy good versus what you'd still be paying for the version on PS2. 3 times that. Then move into, of course, Silent Hill 3 exclusively on the PS2, and because of that, it is definitely holding a much bigger value as of right now. Yeah, I know they talk about supposedly a remake of Silent Hill 3, but that's many years off from now. With that said, Silent Hill 3 I think will retain and hold its value much more than most of the other Silent Hill games. This time last year, Silent Hill 3 was going for $217. Quite a bit. However, this year, Silent Hill 3 is currently going for $280. It jumped up $63 in value since last year. That is a humongous spike, to say the least. How do I think it's going forward? I think it's to stay steady, if not go up a little bit more. I mean, there's a chance this could actually crack the 300, possibly, because the only version you can play otherwise is the HD version, and it has lots and lots of bugs in it. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more collectors trying to get Silent Hill 3 original PS2 version, and it never received the greatest hits because it didn't sell as well. So because of those contributing factors, I have a feeling it is definitely going to hold its value much more than the others. Next up, Silent Hill 4 The Room, which would get, of course, 2 versions released. One on PS2 and one on original Xbox. The PS2 version, and by the way, it never received the greatest hits version or anything like that. So because of that, it is going to have a bit better value. Overall, this time last year, Silent Hill 4 The Room was going for, on PS2, $150. How much is it going for this year? It's currently trending for $170, so actually saw a $20 jump since last year. And I have a feeling it will keep its value and possibly go up more, as there aren't nearly as many copies of Silent Hill 4 The Room as others. And because of that, just like with Silent Hill 3, it will hold its value much better. I think there are really maybe 4 Silent Hill games that will definitely hold their value more. 3, 4, I think Origins will hold its value a bit better, as well as Shattered Memories. But with that said, how much is it going for on original Xbox? Last year it was going for $60. Very affordable, very good deal compared to. However, this year it's trending for right now $71.50. So it saw over a $11 jump in price since last year. So needless to say, I do think it will definitely hold its value on original Xbox, as there weren't nearly as many copies sold as there were of Silent Hill 2 on the Xbox. Heck, Silent Hill 2 got a Platinum Hits version released. Not the case with The Room, and I think The Room is growing over time with bigger and bigger cult following. So I think because of that, it will continue holding its value a bit better. Even so, still, a little over $70 versus $170 on the PS2, yeah, is definitely a much better option if you want to play original hardware. With that said, moving on, checking out next, Silent Hill Origins, which got told 2 releases, 2 ports. First up, looking at its original PSP release. Last year at this time, it was trending for $53, which is pretty good, honestly. Decent price. This year, it's trending for $68. So, it saw a $15 spike since last year. I'm not going to be surprised if it doesn't go up at least a few more dollars or so, or several more dollars. Very possible, as PSP is becoming more and more rare to get a hold of. And because of that, I think that will affect its price on the PSP, and I think it will retain its value and go up a little bit. I don't think it will see a humongous spike, but I do think it will definitely hold its value overall at $68, which is very solid, but yet not even near one of the most expensive games on it. With that said, PS2 version of Silent Hill Origins, this time last year it was going for $134. This year it is going for $171. So it's all a pretty massive spike in price since last year. I think it will stay steady, though I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't possibly drop a few dollars. It isn't quite as sought after as like Silent Hill 4 The Room and stuff, but still, I think it's going to hold its value pretty well, as it never got a re-release. So because of that alone, I think it will keep its value relatively well, though it might drop a little, but who knows, it could end up jumping more. Hard to say. It's not always easy to predict the Silent Hill games specifically, which will go up and which will go down. Next, looking at Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which got 3 ports. First up, looking at the PSP version. The PSP version this time last year was going for $110. Quite a reasonably priced value on the PSP, definitely holding. It jumped, however. This year it's going for over $137. So yeah, it saw a $27 jump in value, in price. I think it is definitely going to hold its value relatively well, just because, like I said, PSP stuff is becoming more rare to find. Because of that, I think it will hold its value relatively well. It might go down, or it might go up. PSP games are a little bit harder and trickier to predict than other platforms. Handhelds have never always been quite as easy to predict. With that said, next looking at the PS2 version, this time last year, it was going for $359. This year, it's going for $402. It actually cracked the 400 mark. Even I didn't think it was going to do that. I thought it might end up going down a little bit. Nope, it had a massive jump. So the fact that it has cracked 400 is frankly insane, and I have a feeling it will keep going up. Originally, I thought maybe it would slow down or go down in value. Nope, it jumped up. So I think it's probably going to continue going up, especially if it follows the trends of games like Roll of Rose, or like, even if it is lower, still jumping up, games like Clock Tower 3. A lot of PS2 survival horror games seem to be jumping up a lot in value as of the last few years. But then we look at the Nintendo Wii version. How much? Last year it was trending for $82, which is pretty pricey for a Wii game, keep in mind. And I believe this was the best selling port of Shattered Memories, if I'm not mistaken. So, one being Wii, two probably selling the best, has actually worked decently well with motion controls. But yeah, I think it will hold its value. This time this year, however, it's going for $95. So it saw a $13 jump since last year. I think I wouldn't be surprised if it drops down some, being Wii, but then again, I could be wrong, and it may continue going up and become one of the pricier games on the Wii. Because there isn't a huge amount of survival horror on the Wii in the first place. So because of that, and as long as it doesn't get any modern ports, it probably will. All 3 versions will probably still go up. But with that said, next we're looking at the HD collection. Um, Keep in mind, by far, the 360 version is the best as they released more patches and stuff for bug issues in that version versus the version we currently have on the PS3. For some reason, the 360 got more special treatment. But because of that, yeah, it affects the value a little bit. The PS3 version this time last year was around 2150. This year, 2150, so it did not change any in value. The 360 version, however, this time last year was going for $34. This year it's going for $37. While the PS3 version remains not changed, the 360 version went up $3, and it is almost twice the price of the PS3 just because of having more patches makes it more desirable by collectors. So I think it probably might go up another couple of bucks next year. I wouldn't be surprised. As now more people are collecting 360 games, which I'm glad I got on the bandwagon a few years ago on the 360. With that said, coming in next up we have Silent Hill Homecoming. Arguably, in my opinion, the worst of the Silent Hill game series as a whole, because it doesn't really feel too survival horror esque. Um, PS3 version last year at this time was going for $20. That's it. It's pretty cheap for a Silent Hill game. Some of the I would say the best part about Homecoming is the boss fights and the creature designs and stuff. I think is by far the best part of the game, and that's about it. But last year it was going for $20. This year it's going for 18, so it's all a $2 drop. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's under $20. The 360 version, however, this time last year was $20. This time this year it's 22. So it went up $2. While the PS3 lost $2. So either way, it's still dirt cheap. The fact that HD Collection is more expensive than it is kind of crazy. Next up, Silent Hill Downpour, which I feel is a criminally underrated Silent Hill game, in my opinion. Not as much of a variety, but it gives you an idea of what Silent Hill would be in more of like a semi-open world. And the side quests and stuff for me is the best part of the game. Sadly, the music isn't as good given Yamaoka was not involved in the soundtrack. And Korn worked on some of the music, which is so weird. Still a great game overall. Especially when you enjoy doing side missions and things. With that said, Downpour last year on the PS3 was going for $60. This year's going for $68. So it's one of the, I would say, more going up in value PS3 games. I actually think it will probably go up a little bit more, as Downpour did not sell super well, though it did sell better than Homecoming and a few other games in the series. But I think because a lot of people slept on it, you're going to see the price jump as more people start becoming interested in the game for collecting. The 360 version last year was going for $55. This year it's going for $57. $2 increase. While the PS3, $8. So with that said, I would still argue if you get a chance, maybe pick up the 360 version if you're at all interested. Though I would more recommend quality wise probably the PS3, but if you're not willing to pay this price, I'm not going to be surprised. I picked up the game years ago for like $12, so count myself lucky. With that said, last game looking at for the Vita, I think it will retain its value more so because of being Vita. Um, this time last year it was going for $54, which is a drop from a few years prior. This year it is going for $66, so it's a $12 increase since last year. Not surprised, not a lot of people, honestly, are at all that interested in Book of Memories. It is definitely not one of the best Silent Hill games, like I've told people before. As a Silent Hill game goes, it's not good at all. Now, if you like dungeon crawler games, you actually may enjoy this. But of course, Arguably, the fact that it's now like 60 some dollar range, I don't really recommend the game for that price. If you can find it for a relatively affordable price at maybe GameStop or somewhere, go for it. Or, like I said, if you like dungeon crawlers, but you're not really a big Silent Hill fan, you may actually enjoy this more than a lot of other people out there. But with that said, that is my predictions for the upcoming next year. We'll see in 2026 how my projections held out. But with that said, I'll see y'all soon and have a safe Halloween.